Intense storms hit yesterday and overnight, and more are out there right now. And we know we don't need a named system to cause scenes like this. This in Guatemala, some of the flooding from yesterday, cars were swept away, homes, businesses taking on a lot of water. We've seen a lot of this in parts of Central America in particular. And again, more of this is a likelihood. So let me start with that, and then I'll show you the possibility of tropical development. But just look over the next 3 days. Here's Guatemala, for example. We've been talking about the uptick in rain for a month or so. I've been mentioning how that rain is really going to come back with a resurgence in parts of Central America, and we are seeing that parts of Mexico, Guatemala, and even Belize. We're starting to get some showers and storms, but El Salvador, parts of Honduras, Nicaragua, and continuing through Costa Rica and Panama, we're going to see some totals over 150 millimeters of rain, or 6 inches of rain, just over the next 3 days. Look what's happening here. You see these colors here, these brighter colors, that's showing taller clouds. Where we have taller clouds, no doubt, 30,000 feet up into the air, there's a lot more rain in there. The tropical downpours can really be held, and then we get dumped on, and we're seeing that. No name system here, but the buildup of rain, what we've been talking about together, and we see it there. We've had some rain near the Cayman Islands, but Cuba, right through the Bahamas, and parts of Florida. Here's the bigger picture. This area here, as it lifts to the north, does have a small window to develop. As I've been mentioning, though, keeping things in perspective, this has a very low chance of development. Thank you for your trust. Again, I've been mentioning that. Even that spot in the Caribbean we've been watching, I've been mentioning a low chance of development. All of that continues to hold. This area here, none of the models are really showing tropical development out of it. I'll show you in just a second. As this builds near the southeast U.S. the next couple of days, a slight chance it does spin up. I want to dissect that. I'll show you the winds inside of that. So let's cover that now, and then I want to show you the big buildup of rain through the Caribbean. So kind of piece by piece. This first, because this has that chance of some development, albeit on the low side. Here comes that front that brought the severe weather as expected yesterday to parts of the U.S. That steers this. That gives this blob of rain an area to kind of just work its way off toward the north, and then eventually off toward the northeast. By tomorrow, if this area develops, it would be right near the Carolinas. Even if it were to develop, I don't expect it to be anything big. Some welcome rain in spots where we haven't had a whole lot, and then monitoring that severe weather threat in parts of the U.S. That's going to be building, kind of rebuilding over the next couple days. You see by Friday flaring up again with those storms, but this spin has a small chance to develop as it approaches some of the warm waters of the Gulf Stream. I'll show you those water temperatures in a second. There's the severe weather. The window of opportunity for this to develop is very small because eventually it gets tied into the front. By Saturday, may enhance the chance of rain for us in Bermuda, and then this just kind of lifts and gets tied in to the Atlantic region of Canada, but it's really the front bringing some of that extra rain to New Brunswick, for example, and then monitoring that severe weather threat, parts of the central and mid-Atlantic U.S. So watching that. Let me show you the winds in this, and you can see how they're not significant. A bigger spin offshore, not tropical, splitting the eastern portion of Canada back through Bermuda. But it's this pocket here. Here's kilometers an hour and miles per hour to keep everyone covered. Because of the interaction with land, because it's over land, it doesn't have a big opportunity to develop today into the first half of tomorrow. Again, these feed off of warm water. Here comes that front. And then you see this area as it just lifts to the north. We start to get a curl on this as it moves away. So even if it were to develop some, say into a subtropical storm or tropical storm, it would be pushing over water. But either way, no major impacts. The impacts we're going to be dealing with in parts of the Carolinas, eastern end, would be some of the rain, and some spots have been way too dry over the last couple months. That portion could be welcome, and then you see the winds getting stronger. Some of the gusts right around 40-50 miles per hour, and then as that front kind of ties in on Saturday into Sunday, we'll get some stronger winds as we work our way, especially over toward the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland, as all of that energy kind of lifts up toward the northeast. Now here's what's going on next through the Caribbean. There's been some chatter out there about development, I've been mentioning that's such a low chance, but this is what I'm seeing. Now, we've got one pocket of rain here, the heavy storms in parts of Central America, and then still watching that rain parts of the Bahamas, Florida, Cuba, spotty showers around the Cayman Islands. I'll show you the dust in just a minute, but Eastern Caribbean, we're going to start to see some showers and storms making a comeback. You see a couple that will be popping up, may get a few Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados for tomorrow, and there's that rain, very heavy at times. Watching the mudslide potential as we go forward in time. This here is by Friday, and you see now what we have here, a couple areas of rain building up. This spot in the Eastern Pacific has a solid chance of developing on the Eastern Pacific side, but we will see this rain starting to build up in the Western Caribbean, and there the showers are turning to the Eastern Caribbean as we work our way toward the end of the week into the upcoming weekend. So let's go out in time here further, right? I want to show you what happens. This is by Sunday. There's the blob of rain. Now, what's going to happen is, remember a couple days ago, the American model, which is this, was showing this really spinning up into something. It's been pushing it more and more down the road, so the model's been off. But it shows that area of rain, which most of the models are showing, just no huge signs of development. Keeping an eye on some of those tropical waves that are approaching us in the Eastern Caribbean. But what's going to happen here, let's go on time further. This here is June 10th, so by Tuesday of next week, there's the rain building. Does this have a chance to develop? Yes, it does have a slight chance to develop. We have plenty of time to watch it together, but it's going to be hugging very close to Central America, which means the first thing, more flooding and potentially life-threatening flooding, and then we'll be able to see if this does try to develop a little bit, may swing a little bit more toward the Bay of Campeche or just kind of lift to the north. It is an area to watch. No aggressive signs of development as of now, but the water temperatures in this area are so very warm that if that blob of rain just kind of sits over them, we could see some development. Now, here's the behind the scenes of the European model. Look at this green in here in the southwestern sections of the Caribbean. It's showing a little higher chance of development as we work our way, especially into next week, about a 40 to 50% chance of development, more so on the Eastern Pacific side. But the chance of development, albeit low, is slightly higher than yesterday. So monitoring this area of rain that will develop near Central America and the Western Caribbean. For us in Jamaica, back through Cuba, Cayman Islands, those water temperatures are very warm, no doubt, and warming up as we expect this time of year. So just with that area of rain sitting in through here, we're going to watch out for some development next week. And then here's the Gulf Stream off the coast of the Carolinas, watching that spin. If it's able to get a little more offshore and sit over those warm waters of the Gulf Stream, it does have a slight chance of developing. That's that first piece that I showed you. Now the dust, it's actually getting drawn in. Sometimes the dust can mix with rain, and we've been seeing that in parts of the Bahamas, over toward Cuba, Turks and Caicos, even parts of the southeast U.S. Not as much dust out there. Let's go out in time here. This is by the time we get into Friday. The dust overall will lessen. No big surge of dust over the next week or so that will be headed our way. So with that, the dust is usually accompanied with some dry air. So with that, we may get that better chance of some development in the Caribbean, but know that I'm watching that. If anything spins up, I'll give you a very advanced warning on where something may go. But right now, we're good. The biggest concern where we're not good is the heavy rain. I showed you that video at the beginning, the intense flooding in some spots. With that, you still see some of those big pockets of rain. Look at western Cuba, even over toward the Florida Keys, where we could get 4 to 5 inches of additional rain just over the next 3 days. Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, the DR, it's going to be a little bit spottier. Again, we still have some of that dust around. We're kind of in between tropical waves for the most part at this point. So Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, yes, some spotty showers, but not widespread. Same thing, Dominica South, not super widespread. But as I mentioned, through the end of the week, we're going to see some of that rain sneaking a little bit closer to Barbados, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, and Trinidad as that rain chance goes up. Guyana and Suriname still watching out for some of that rain around where we could get 75 millimeters of rain or 3 inches of rain for a 3-day total. But it's this pocket that I showed you earlier. Even from Colombia stretching back, we're going to see some heavy heavy areas of rain, the mudslide potential. Please, thank you for spreading the word about this. Please use some of the caution there. Up and around Mexico City, still some scattered storms. This up here to the north, watching the next severe weather threat building. We'll be watching that next front that will be sliding by. And then look at that near the Carolinas, swinging back toward coastal Georgia, where we'll get some spots of 4, maybe 5 inches of rain with this system that's trying to develop somewhat, but some heavy tropical rain lifting up toward the Carolinas. So Jamaica, we have a 30% chance of a shower today. Montego Bay, back toward Kingston. Get over toward the Cayman Islands. Big Island, slightly better chance over toward Grand Cayman of getting a couple spotty showers. But as we get through the end of the week, as I mentioned, Trinidad and Tobago, we're going to start to get some scattered showers and some thunderstorms back in the mix. Barbados, as of now, a 20% chance. It will start to go up this weekend, and you see by Friday in St. Lucia, we're up to about a 30% chance. 20 to 30% chance in Grenada, staying low as of now. Passing shower chance the next couple of days. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we do that again in Martinique. Rain chance relatively low. Isolated showers, we work our way back through Dominica. Hit or miss shower, we'll get a couple passing by as we work our way through Guadeloupe. We swing back toward Antigua, Barbuda. See tomorrow and Friday, isolated rain chance at 30%, 30 to 40% chance the next 3 days. St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat in just a 20 to 30% chance. Anguilla and St. Barth, St. Martin, Saba and Statia, the same thing. Isolated shower chance. Back through Puerto Rico, isolated thunderstorm possible. 30% chance, even lower. Back through the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, we're looking at a 20% chance. St. John, St. Croix over toward Tortola. Bahamas, 40% chance of rain, but that is split again. Northern Bahamas, Freeport, New Providence. That's where we're going to have heavy rain. Watching out for some of that flooding. Meanwhile, swinging down to the south, Turks and Caicos, mainly dry. 30 to 40% chance of a shower storm across the Dominican Republic. Meanwhile, in Haiti, as we swing back toward the west, only a 20% chance. 30 to 40% chance in Belize. Some of us have been dry for what feels like months. We did have some areas of rain yesterday, right? I've been watching your comments. We'll get that again the next 2 days. Not all of us get it, but we're starting to get back with some scattered areas of rain. Meanwhile, the ABC Islands, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire staying generally on the dry side. 60 to 70% chance of rain in Guyana, and upwards of an 80% chance, especially as the day goes on, across Suriname. Cuba, best chance, western and even central zones of getting some of the heavy and flooding rain. Costa Rica and Panama, we are back at it again today with those tropical downpours. Nicaragua, 60% chance for today. And then we swing back toward Honduras, mainly western tier of 40 to 50% chance of rain. But there are those tropical downpours the next couple of days. Guatemala and El Salvador monitoring the flooding. Spotty shower Mexico City today, but it does pick up by Friday. We're going to be back up to a 60% chance. Yucatan Peninsula, 40 to 50% chance of some scattered showers and even some thunderstorms around for us today. Northern Colombia, back through Venezuela, watching kind of a mix of dust and that rain chance that will eventually be getting higher. And then Bermuda, we'll keep an eye on that area that will build near the Carolinas to see if that swings in more rain by the time we get into the weekend. So watching that spin up near the southeast U.S., Central America, the rain continues to build, so I'll be watching the Western Caribbean for any signs of development. The first name on the list this season on the Atlantic Basin side is Andrea. We already had Alvin on the Eastern Pacific side. Thank you for being part of this channel. Have a wonderful day ahead.